Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of the Next Gen Bets podcast.
I fixed the game between Georgia Southern and Grambling.
We have our first ever full slate here on the podcast. We're going to be talking about the Week 14 slate. We're going to be going through all of our bets. We have tons of bets. Our first week was Thanksgiving, so we kind of split it up into two. This is our first full NFL slate, so it's going to be a banger for you guys
Uh,
today.
our first bet's actively in progress.
It
Thursday
is.
Night
It is.
Football.
Yep, if you guys watched episode 3, you'll know what this bet is. But we're currently the Lions game is live while we record this, and we had a bet for that game, so that's going on right now. But we have a ton more for the Sunday games, and then also on the Monday game. So
I think we're in halftime now. So,
yeah, we are. So let's head on right into the bets. We're gonna go over the games, and then we're gonna talk about our bets, and we'll go from there. All right.
all right, let's get it. Starting with the Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. Jaguars coming in at 2-10, facing the 3-9 Titans. A divisional matchup, but otherwise not a good game here. Under is currently 40 and a half, and that's where it opened. So not much change here, like I said, because it's awful. Spread is 3.5 in favor of the Titans, and Jaguars are plus 145 on the money line, with the Titans favorites at minus 170.
Yeah, so this game would normally be one of those games that nobody cares about, but it's a little bit interesting this week seeing that Trevor Lawrence took a disgusting hit last week. He's out, so now Mac Jones gets to start. We saw a flash of him last week. He played pretty well. So we're looking to see what he does this week against the Titans, who, as you can tell by the records Kyle stated, both teams are terrible, 2-10, 3-9. Neither of them are impressive. Now moving on, talking about another unimpressive team. It's going to be the New York Jets playing in Miami against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are currently 5.5 points favorites in that game. The over-under is 44 and a half, with the money line for the Jets being plus 210, and then the money line for the Dolphins being minus 250. The Dolphins are 5-7 on the season, and the Jets are 3-9 on the season.
I like to think the Dolphins are an impressive team. I assume you're talking about the
I was
unimpressive team,
only
the
talking
Jets.
about the Jets, I promise.
So that makes me happy. If the Jets lose this game, they are officially eliminated from playoff contention. They aren't yet, but they will be. Um, Dolphins 5-7, like Connor said, they kind of need this one to stay alive in that AFC race as Denver keeps winning. It's got a two game gap there, and we got some good stats for a bet in this game later, so I won't spoil it too much. Moving on to the Falcons and the Vikings. This one's in Minnesota. Over under is 46.5 for this one. Spread 5.5 in favor of the Vikings, as we all know, because of how bad the Falcons have been recently. Vikings are 5-1 at home, 10-2 overall. They just seem to keep winning. That's why their money line's minus 250. Falcons watching that division slowly slip away. They are plus 210 on the money line. Connor, what you got for this one?
This game's actually pretty big. This is Kirk Cousins' first time playing back in Minnesota since he left last season, or this offseason, I should say, to go to the Falcons. It's a big game because that's his homecoming game, and also because the Falcons kind of need this game, like Kyle just said, as their division's slipping away. So they want to win this game to stay in the playoff talk. So this game's definitely going to be big for them, and I think it's going to be a little bit more important for Kirk Cousins this year or this week. Um, Now moving on, we got the New Orleans Saints playing against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. The Saints are 4-8 on the year. The Giants are 2-10 on the year. Another not so impressive game. The Saints are 4 point favorites in this game. The spread is four flat. So watch out for the push. Over under for this game is 40 and a half, which is fairly low for a over under, but it's
Oh,
kind of expected in that game. And then the Saints money line is minus 210 and the Giants money line is plus 175.
I got a bit of a fantasy rant for this game. I thought I was big braining. I had Kamara all season. I found a way to trade him for Devon A-Chain, which I think is a good move. It's been working as a good move. But I did this because I wanted to play Taysom Hill because he was balling out, but I didn't want two Saints players that both score rushing touchdowns because I saw Taysom stealing Kamara's touchdowns. I said, I want that guy, and this guy's got good trade value. I tried to finesse Connor. He wouldn't let that happen. Um, but now Taysom Hill's hurt, so now I feel like an idiot. But I really thought I was onto something there. So frustrated. Moving on to the Panthers and the Eagles, another one of my fantasy disappointments, Chuba Hubbard. We'll have more on him later, like we said earlier. Philadelphia is favored by 13.5, as they should be. They come in 10-2 against a 3-9 team. Over under is 45 and a half, which originally stood out to me as kind of low, but just because of how bad the Panthers defense tends to be, and the Panthers offense has been better, but not great numbers supporting either one of those sides, so we didn't bet it. And then Eagles heavy favorites minus 900. I believe that's the strongest money line this week by a long shot, and Panthers plus 550 if you believe in them for some reason. They did go to overtime, so.
Yes, and that line does vary a lot on FanDuel. We were looking right before this. The on FanDuel, I believe, is minus 1100 and then plus 700 for the Panthers. So there's a lot of variation there. But the Eagles just came off a massive win against the Ravens. They're looking really good in the driver's seat of the NFC East. The Panthers just came off an overtime loss, which is very similar to a win for the Panthers. Didn't affect their draft stock, but it means everybody functioned. Um, and yeah, so as Kyle said, good to you're going to want to watch Chuba Hubbard this week as he's been carrying the load in recent weeks. But this week he might get some less touches like last week, and we're expecting that to continue. So that's something to watch out for in that game. But I think that's only going to be the only thing to really look out for in that game. The Eagles realistically should take that one pretty comfortably. Um, Moving on now, we have a game that could be exciting. We have the Browns playing in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Last time the Browns were able to pull off the shocker and beat the Steelers in Cleveland. Now we're in Pittsburgh, so we'll see what happens. The Steelers are 6.5 point favorites in that game, with the over and under being, or the over under being 43 and a half. Pittsburgh's money line is currently at minus 300, while the Browns money line is at plus 250.
This game features our new parlay of the week, or as Connor like to call it, the plow. Uh,
Hmm.
so we'll talk about that later. We got another straight bet in this game, so there's a lot going on in this game. Jameis Winston, everybody was kind of flipping out about his game last week. Uh, on Monday against Denver. And I just wanted to point out he has had a incredibly similar stat line to this against the Indianapolis Colts in 2019, playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis he threw the ball 45 times for 456 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in that one. And let's see, they did win this one. It was 38-35, and that was with Tampa, obviously. But everybody's going nuts about wow, Jameis had this crazy stat line, which he did. I'm not taking away from it. But as we know, Jameis, this is something he does. He had a 61-yard touchdown pass in this game, and then he threw an 80-yard pick six later in the game. So while it is rare, and that probably won't happen ever again, or maybe it will for Jameis, but he has done this before. Moving on to one of the more disappointing games, talking about Jameis's old team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Raiders and the Bucks. Raiders come in 2-10. Only exciting thing they got going for them is Brock Bowers, pretty much. Although Aiden O'Connell threw for 340 last week, do want to give a shout out to him. Buccaneers are 6.5 point favorites. Over under is 44.5, and money line Raiders come in at plus 240. Decent value there, in my opinion. I don't think it's that much of a like. I wouldn't be too shocked if the Raiders won this one. And Bucks minus 290, like we said, trying to steal that division from Atlanta. They're both 6-6, the Bucks and Atlanta, but the Bucks or Atlanta does have the 2-0 head-to-head tiebreaker from divisional games. So the Bucks do need to be up a game, and they could get it based on the way the matchups are looking.
Yeah, and so the only thing that's really something you want to watch out for this game, we don't have any bets on it, but part of the reason is because of injuries. As of right now, when filming this, the Bucky Irving is questionable and Mike Evans is also questionable. Um, the Buccaneers have been able to win without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but it'd be a little bit sketchy without Bucky Irving too. You pretty much lose all your weapons, and then you just have Baker Mayfield. So that's something to look out for. That they're questionable, so it's not 100% that they're going to be out, but that's something to definitely consider. And if they are actually out, then the value within the Raiders money line is a little bit better for that game.
Or
Moving on now.
if they
What
do play, what if those guys do end up playing, what percent? So you may want to stay away from their player props in your parlays because maybe they just out there as a decoy.
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing to think about. Yeah, that could affect the play time. For example, especially the Buccaneers, if they're able to come out, they need to focus on potentially getting a playoff push at some point. So you don't want to risk anybody if you can, if you're, especially if you're winning in the game, you don't want to risk any injury. Moving on now, we're going to talk about the Seahawks playing in Phil or in Phoenix. Sorry, I'm having an issue here against the Arizona Cardinals. So Seahawks are playing against the Arizona Cardinals. Um, the Cardinals are 6-6 on the year. Seahawks are 7-5. We saw this matchup pretty recently, which I'm sure Kyle's going to talk about. Um, but the Cardinals are 2.5 point favorites this game for this week in this game. The over/under for this game is 44.5. The Cardinals are minus 145 money line, and then the money line for the Seahawks is plus 125. I'll let you take this away, Kyle.
Yeah, so we were sitting there going through our bets, looking at what other games. We kind of got through the 1 o'clock window, had some nice bets. Looking at these 4 o'clock games, Cardinals like, oh, Cardinals are 4-2 at home. They've been playing good. Arizona's only 3-4 on the road, not crazy record. Arizona's a good team against the spread, and I go, no, we are not betting on this game. We bet on the Cardinals 2 weeks ago. They lost 16-6 in Seattle. Everybody knows Kyler Murray is a better record on the road in his career so far. This wasn't a podcast bet because we were still pre-podcast time then, but we were making these same sheets and talking about stuff the same way we are now because we're prepping for you guys. And we bet on the Cardinals and we lost, and they never really had a chance in this game. They took the lead on a field goal, and then it just went downhill. Then they're down 13-3, and then it's only one possession, and they just nothing on offense this game. No touchdowns. Just not betting. I'm not done betting on the Cardinals for the season, so I still think they're good, but I'm done betting on the Cardinals against the Seahawks. So moving on to the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Rams, the final, or no, not the final 4 o'clock game, but another 4 o'clock game. Bills 10-2 and Rams 6-6. Rams really need this one to get back in that crowded NFC playoff race. I couldn't come up with the word crowded there for a second. I didn't know what adjective I was going to use. Bills come in as 3.5 point favorites. Over unders at 49.5, so a higher scoring matchup we see here. And Bills minus 190 in the money line seems kind of low for a team that's 10-2 playing a 500 team, but Rams are probably better than most 500 teams. They've had some close losses. Rams money line plus 160 if you think they can have it upset.
Yeah, the Rams are pretty good for being a 500 team. But something to watch here is that the Bills are undefeated currently as an away team. They're 6-0 as an away team. Meanwhile, the Rams are 3-3 at home. This is a big game for the Rams. They want to stay in the playoff hunt, stay in the picture. The Bills, as of right now, are comfortably in it. They're just kind of looking to continue to do what they do in away games and just take care of business and not slip up big time here in this week. So. That's definitely a game to watch. We'll be watching it, but nothing crazy coming out of there. Moving on now, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears playing in San Fran for the against the 49ers. You guys know how I feel about the Bears. This is definitely a game you could consider betting on. There's definitely value here. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole, but that's how it is. The 49ers are 3.5 point favorites this week, though. The over/under for the game is 43.5 currently, with the 49ers money line being at minus 200 and the Bears money line being at plus 170.
Yeah, I really wanted to bet on the Charger or the Bears here, but they got the new head coach, who I'm a big fan of their offensive coordinator. He's been doing pretty good, which I am not a fan of that move. I like the guy, but he's a new offensive coordinator, so him getting promoted head coach, it seems like he's going to be the head coach and then just let him go. When I would have rathered him just stay the OC and they bring in like Vrabel or whoever. But anyway, I'm not here to judge the Bears front office because we could do that for a while. Um, but the Bears looked really good in that second half against the Lions, coming back on Thanksgiving there. There's made that game entertaining when we thought it was going to be a blowout. So shout out to them for that. But that 170 is tempting, but the Niners are still the better roster, so can't really bet against them there. Chargers and Chiefs to wrap up our NFL Sunday of Week 14. Chiefs are 4 point favorites. Over under is another low one at 42.5. Chargers money line plus 180. Chiefs minus 215. Chiefs, as we know, 11-1, very fraudulent 11-1. Some will say. Chargers 8-4, kind of similarly, a lot of close wins to get to the 8-4. Not too many people talk about them because they're not at the top, but I think they're not as like the Rams 6-6 and the Chargers 8-4. But I think those two teams are closer than the record says they are. What do you have to add on this one, Connor?
I do agree with what you said with the fraudulent part, but at the same time, I it's hard to, it's almost impossible for me to bet against the Chiefs, especially at this point in the season, because they find a way to win, and you can't really hate on that. You know, they don't put up the numbers, but they win, and that's all that matters. The Chiefs are 6-0 at home, so kind of similar to that Buffalo game. The Chiefs haven't lost at home yet this year. Arrowhead really is the most elite home field advantage in the NFL, I would argue. The
Even
Chargers. Well,
even Kansas, University of Kansas had good home field
yeah,
game.
yeah, because they played in Arrowhead.
Colorado there at Arrowhead.
Yeah, so the home field advantage is real there, which I would argue isn't always the case in a lot of NFL stadiums. There's definitely a few, but it's more rare than you'd think, especially compared to college, for example. But the Chiefs are really good at home. They're playing at home. The Chargers are a pretty good team, but I do worry that they might struggle against the Chiefs. We'll see. I don't believe we touched that game. We did not.
No.
But I will look forward to watching that game. That's the late game, so it's prime time. It's gonna be good to watch.
We
Moving
were
on,
we
what
were
were you
looking for touchdown scorer props in that game, but the Chiefs just don't score a lot of touchdowns. So like
Yeah,
maybe
it's hard to bet on a
Ray,
team that
he
doesn't
scores a
score.
good amount, but they're going to score 17 points, get one touchdown, and I need it to be exactly who I bet on. I'm not doing it. And with Pacheco coming back,
Yeah,
uh,
that's
just
another thing I have an issue with because I had Kareem Hunt on my he was my running back for
at
a good
Pacheco.
part of the season. He was a good pickup because Pacheco got hurt. Hunt was running the ball. It was great. Pacheco comes back. Hunt doesn't get the ball at all. He sucks now, so I'm kind of pissed off about that. I had to find a replacement for him, but we handled that. Um, Now moving on though, we're going to talk about another primetime game that not many people are going to like because it's the Bengals playing in Dallas against the Cowboys. The Cowboys are just a rough primetime team this year. They're just hard to watch. Um, there's not much else you can say about it. The Bengals are 4-8. They actually have a worse record than the Cowboys, but they are 5-point favorites playing in Dallas, which is crazy. The over-under for the game is 49.5, which is relatively high compared to the over-unders that we've been talking about so far up to this point. Money line for the Bengals is minus 240, and the money line for the Cowboys is plus 200.
So coming into the game, Dallas is 1-5 at home. Bengals are 1-5 on the road. Like Connor said, Bengals are 4-8 overall. Dallas is 5-7 overall. Why is this a primetime game? Like, why can we not flex this? How many times do we have to watch Dallas and Cooper Rush and even Dak just be a not good football team? And even at least the Bengals are entertaining, but they're still bad. They're not in the playoff mix. Like, let's flex some of these good games into the prime time window. Like Bills Rams would have been acceptable for me.
Yeah.
Seahawks Cardinals is acceptable. Playoff implications there. At least it's not a Jets game again because we have had enough of those. Maybe Falcons Vikings. We could get a Kirk Cousins revenge game on prime time. We know his prime time was, but I've had enough. We got more on that game later. It's good, some good spread numbers in there, but just like why do we have to watch the same teams who aren't good on prime time? Because every week it's the same garbage from the NFL.
I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree. So that is, with that said, that is all of the games for this week's slate that we have gone through. So now we're gonna go back up to the top. We're gonna go down, and we're gonna talk about all the games that we bet on.
We're gonna
Um,
run through our bets here.
we're gonna go through all of our bets. We're gonna talk about our specialty bets, which are new this week.
Yes, that's
We
what
are
I
bringing
want to
you guys
discuss.
specialty bets. Those are going to be pretty exciting. He already mentioned the plow, aka the parlay of the week, which is my favorite one personally. But then we have a lock of the week. We have anytime TD of the week, and then we have a prop of the week. So we got four specialty bets coming for you guys.
Ooh,
Hopefully that's going to be exciting.
did we miss like a spread of the week? Did we miss something there? Did we
Yeah,
have
well, technically, yeah, because I feel like normally
we
the
don't have a
lock of the week
spread?
would be a spread, but
The
the lock
lock of the
of the
week's
week
not a
this
spread
week is
this week.
not a spread.
And then our
So
parlay doesn't include a spread
yeah,
either. And we
so
don't have
let
we don't
us
have any
know.
money line bets this week.
Yeah,
Interesting.
we don't normally do money line bets, but let us know down below if you guys want
We
to
did
see
last week. We
spread
hit
of the week.
Seattle last week.
Did we?
Yeah, Seattle against the Jets. Seattle money line.
Oh yeah, we did take that. That was a close line, but especially this week, money lines are terrible this week.
Yeah, this week it's
The
bad.
spreads are too bad for the money line. But let us know if you guys want to see a spread of the week. Probably I
Dog
don't
of the
know,
week,
do a money
maybe.
line of a week. We'll see. We'll see.
Do a
But
dog of the week. I don't know. We'll
dog
play
of the
around
week,
with it.
maybe. Well, let us know. All right. Well, we're open
Depends,
for suggestions.
depends on what comes out that week that we
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
We're not just
exactly.
gonna bet an underdog because we want to bet an underdog. They have to be like Seattle was a good underdog. They won.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was a good bet. Quality
All
bet.
right. So let's run through our bets here. Um, I think we had a good amount of bets. We really liked the quantity. We're just slightly over 10 units, just to run through that quick. So that's what we ended up betting this week. I'll give you the units as we go through it, but just a quick total. Um, and I think all of them, no heavy favorites in here. I think the lowest odds we bet was minus 114, and then we have a nice juicy anytime touchdown at plus 460. So uh, with some things to look forward to. Just a quick mention: we have Detroit minus 3.5. That's going on now. I'm not going to get into that, but to get into it, we're going to start with the Jets and the Miami Dolphins. Our bet in this game is Miami minus 6.5. That is even money. The reason we are taking this, Tua Tagovailoa, my favorite quarterback, is 12-4 against the spread as a favorite of 6 points or more. And so now, when the lines opened, it was 6.5. The line's now 5.5. So that does kind of null that point there. But Tua is undefeated against the Jets and Patriots in his career. The Jets are 1-8 against the spread since week 4, and they're 1-6 against the spread with their interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich uh, in charge. Their defense has been awful, and I just saw Sauce Gardner is also questionable for this game. That made me look at Tyreek lines, but nothing got me excited enough to make a bet because of those news. But something to watch if we see Sauce Gardner out on Sunday to look at the passing yards for Tyreek. Jets do have a good secondary, but if Gardner's out, maybe less of a good secondary. Jets, like we said, Dolphins need it for playoff purposes, and Jets will be eliminated with a loss here.
Yep. That's pretty much that is that bet. We don't have any bets for the following three games that we talked about if we're going in order, but we do have a well,
Always not.
actually no, because we talked about the Jacksonville game first. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I was going in order of the bets listed here, not
Yeah,
the
no, yeah, we're looking at we have two different lists that we went off of, but basically, the next game that we're going to talk about is the Jaguars Titans game. We don't have any bets for the game itself, but we do have a player prop. Now, this player prop is actually the player prop of the week bet. This is my favorite bet of favorite player prop. It is Mac Jones under 199 and a half passing yards. So basically under 200 passing yards. We got that at minus 114. The Titans have the number one pass defense in the NFL, which was part of the reason that it really piqued my interest. They've allowed 171.8 passing yards per game, which is well under that under. And then the Jaguars average under 200 passing yards per game as an offense. And that's with Trevor Lawrence as their starting quarterback. That doesn't even include Mac Jones. Um, Mac Jones did perform pretty well last week when he came in relief for Trevor Lawrence, but we're hoping that the trends continue and that the Titans are able to hold Mac Jones to under 199 yards or under 200 yards, which is why that is the player prop of the week.
Yeah, I see it as two teams who don't really trust their quarterback in the Titans and the Jags there with Will Levis and Mac Jones. So heavy focus on ground game. Tony Pollard's been good this year. Actually, didn't he get hurt last week? I'm not sure on that, but I know the Jags or the Titans do have a good running game. Watch them carve up my Dolphins with it. And go for the Jaguars. They got Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne, not Trevor Lawrence. My bad there. So we know they'll try to run it and not have Mac Jones do some stupid stuff that we saw him do in New England, and that's why he's no longer on New England as a first round pick. Moving on to our next bet. This is one of the ones that also has some good numbers to support it. Another minus 14 bet or minus 114 bet. We have Minnesota minus 5.5 at 114. We got this one. Was it? I believe it was ESPN bet for this one. Yes or no? That was the Miami game. On this one was on FanDuel. So this one I have it specifically written in my notes. No Kirko get back game. I do not see Kirk Cousins coming back and balling out. He is 7-16 against the spread indoors in those last 23 games, and he's 3-9 against the spread as an underdog. So two numbers to support Minnesota beating Kirk Cousins on the spread. They watched Kirk Cousins lose spreads for them as their quarterback, and now they will not let him outdo them against them. That's what I see happening in this one.
Yeah, like we said. Um, The plus the discrepancy between the teams. I think Minnesota is just a far better team right now. I think they'll play very well against the Falcons, and they're at home. So Kirk Cousins get back is unfortunately not going to be positive when it comes to what we think. Or
And Minnesota just wins. Like
yeah,
they just
Minnesota wins games. They don't mess around. They play hard. They play good football. So and obviously the Falcons don't do that as they're 6-6 coming into this game. So we're expecting Minnesota to take care of business. Moving on, we have the New York Giants game. We have multiple bets within this
got
game.
three in this one.
You got three bets within this game. I'm going to talk about the spread for the game. That's what I'm going to take care of. And then Kyle,
I
his
got a
brain
rant.
really did a thing this week, and I'm going to let him talk about what his brain did, because it really is a magical thing. So to get into the spread, we talked about the spread for the game is 4.5. It's technically four flat right now on ESPN Bet, but we got it at four plus 4.5. We're taking the Giants plus 4.5. Derek Carr is 1-14-1 against the spread in the last 16 games as a road favorite. And then the New York Giants currently have a 7-game losing streak against the spread. And then when it comes to their streak at home against the spread, it's a 5-game losing streak. So I think we're gonna hope that they change that up a little bit because Derek Carr's stats against the spread look a little bit worse. So we're gonna take the Giants here. We're gonna see what they can do. They're in week two, correct, with the new quarter. No, is it week three?
It's no, it's week two of Drew Lock.
Week two of Drew Lock, week three
Week
of a new
three without
quarterback.
Daniel
Yeah.
Jones.
So Drew Lock has a week under his belt. We'll see how he performs this week. We're hoping for something better. But actually, we're not really focused on quarterback play, as Kyle's going to talk about.
Yeah, so there's kind of a lot going on in what I did here. Also, no Taysom Hill that helps the Giants plus 4.5, but it does hurt what I'm about to talk about. So last week we hit New Orleans team total rush yards over 124.5. That was on ESPN Bet. I think both of these are. So that was a good bet against the Rams. Now no Taysom Hill doesn't help us out that much. So going into this week, our lock of the week is going to be New Orleans over team total 125.5 rush yards. Last week, I believe New Orleans had 136, so that got there comfortably. New Orleans average is 131.8 rushing yards per game. Giants allow 100, or I'm sorry, Giants allow 145.8 rush yards, so we're well over that number on both of those. Giants allow slightly more rush yards than the Rams, and the Saints are still the Saints, so that's why we love this. And then, so we got 1.1 units bet on that to win one, is at minus 110. And then we're also going to put 0.55 of a unit to win a half unit on the Giants team total rushing yards, which is 109.6. And the Giants rush for 115.9, and the Saints allow 136. So both well over. More on the. There's just a lot of. I'm expecting a lot of rush yards in this game. I mean, like we said, Derek Carr's been bad in this spot as a road favorite, and the Giants don't know what they're doing at quarterback. And we also saw Drew Lock scramble a lot on Thanksgiving, so that helps me in that. But this is what I want to talk about. So those two lines, the Giants team total and the Saints team total, are minus 110. The combined total for this game is 240. So, and that is over 240 is minus 140 on ESPN Bet. So the two adding it up, the 109 or the team total 109.5 and then 125.5, that puts us at what is it? What is the math on that? 245, 246.
Yeah, you're better than me at math,
Yeah.
so
So slightly over that 240, right? 6 yards over, 7 yards over, whatever it is, right? The odds for that 240 line is minus 140, but these two odds are minus 110. So this is where I'm like, wait a minute, why is one like shouldn't everything be minus 110 here? If we're doing overs and unders, that's usually how overs and unders are. Why don't they move that? But the 240 line is what the Giants Saints game or the Giants Cowboys game was on Thanksgiving. And then the Saints line was 125.5 and it was 124 last week. So they're not moving these lines much here, which is that's what gains my attention. Now, minus 140 is a 58.33% implied odds if you use the odds calculator. So that's basically saying them valuing this line at minus 140 means they think it has a 58.33% chance of hitting. And then minus 110 is really a 50-50 because with the VIG and everything, but it's a 52.38% chance of hitting. So I'm betting on these two lines with the Saints being the lock of the week as we're getting this at minus 110, and we think it's going to hit because of the stats I just said and because it hit last week. But I think they're valuing it at 58%, a minus 140, but we get to bet it at minus 110. So that's why I'm very optimistic about these two lines, especially. That's why we kind of threw in the Giants because you wouldn't like I get to bet the two that would make the total over 240. I'm betting both of those at a lower odds, more value for us. So um, I don't know the math on it to get into expected value or whatever that kind of next level betting genius stuff. But I think we have an advantage on these lines here because usually I wouldn't bet three bets in the same game and then two being basically the same bet, just slightly different. So we think we have a little edge there that I'm excited about, and that's why Saints over 125.5 rush yards. That's our lock of the week for week 14.
It is. Now, moving into our other special bet, which is my favorite special bet, we have the parlay of the week. We have our guy, Jameis Winston, 40 plus passing attempts, and then we also have the game over 44 and a half.
Yes, we bought
Over
1 point.
44 and a half. Yeah, we bought a point. So the over is actually 43 and a half, like we talked about before, but we bought a point to make it 44 and a half, which gives us a plus 220 parlay on ESPN Bet. Um, so we love that. Ended up putting zero point 0.2 units on it to win 0.44 units. So that's what we have. That is the plow. That's the parlay of the week. It's Jameis Winston, 40 plus attempts, and then the over 44 and a half for the total of that game. Um, we like it. We think Jameis Winston, he throws the ball a lot. He didn't last time Pittsburgh played, but if you look at his stats every other time that he's played, like every other game he started, he's thrown the ball quite a few times. And then it's not like Pittsburgh doesn't allow the other team to throw the ball. Many times this season, Pittsburgh has allowed a lot of passing attempts from teams that don't throw as much as Jameis Winston does. So I'm feeling really optimistic about that. The over for the passing attempts. And then when it comes to the over for the game in general, that over under would actually be one of the lowest of the season for them, correct? They've only missed that of all their games
Good,
like
good
a,
percent on that
a
one.
handful of times. So it's that they normally hit that over.
Yeah, and then another little value tidbit on this game. So we're looking at the parlay. 40 attempts for Jameis was like plus 130. And then the over under obviously is even money. I think it was like minus 115 to 43.5. So that made the parlay like plus 200 even. And then we bought a point in 44.5, made it plus 220 for the parlay. Then you buy another point and it didn't really change. And then you bought 2 points and it goes up to 240. So for some reason, the way the parlay worked, 44.5 got you more value in the parlay than like 45.5. Like it still got you more, but it got you like proportionately less. So that's why we bought 1 point and not two. Like buying 1 point got the same extra value than the original line than buying 3 points. So it makes more sense to buy one. And then also in this game, we have Pittsburgh -7. So we're buying a half point, the spread 6.5 to get it even at Caesars. Um, this was another value choice we made. So we're betting 1 unit to win exactly one. We like the even alignment there. Um, I think it was FanDuel had it at 6.5 minus 105, or yes, one of them had it at 6.5 minus 105, and then FanDuel has seven even money. So would you rather um, have to bet an extra unit to get the math right, or would you want to buy a half point to get it to where there could be a push? But I don't see that one pushing. We like the numbers here. Pittsburgh's 4-1 against the spread at home. Cleveland's 2-4 against the spread on the road. So nothing too fancy there. And then another one that's similar to like that, like I said, this Cincinnati and Dallas game on Monday. We're taking Cincinnati -6.5. We're buying the point, making it plus money, plus 106 when you do that. Like we said, we were 2-0 on this concept of buying a slight point last week. So we're going to ride with it, get better value. Cincinnati's 5-1 away against the spread. Dallas 1-5 at home against the spread. So seems it's just too easy to not bet that. So maybe that'll hurt us because it's easy and everybody's probably doing it. But those records, you can't really do it the other way around.
Yeah, that seemed a little crazy to me, but then the numbers don't lie, so that's you kind of got to go with the numbers in that situation. Now moving on to another player prop for us, we have Chuba Hubbard under 58 yards rushing. We got that at what was that at? It was at
Minus 114 as well.
minus 114. So we got that at minus 114. As Kyle explained earlier, as we talked about a little bit earlier, he's not getting as many runs, not as many carries. So we're expecting his productivity to go down a little bit. So we're expecting him to hit that under at 58 yards like he did last week.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks is back for Carolina. He had a pretty good game last week. 6 carries, 18 yards, 3 catches out of the backfield. But more noticeably, he was in the backfield a lot, and Chuba then fumbled in overtime, which makes him look even worse from a coaching perspective. Canales clearly liked using 2 running backs. What they were doing was running Brooks for a whole series, and then Chuba would get the next series. But I think the two times in a row, the series with Brooks in was far more successful than Chuba's series. I don't know why. I don't know if it was the play calling, but that's just the way it worked. Um, yeah, and this is a game we expect them to lose, so more passing attempts. We looked at Leggett lines, receiving, and Bryce Young lines, but then again, it's still the Panthers. Don't want to bet on a Panther over. We'll bet on the Panther under. This is 0.57 units to win a nice half unit. We don't really have any great data for this besides we feel like Chuba's not going to get touches because of that fumble, because of Jonathan Brooks being back. All right, moving on to our touchdown of the day. We wanted to find plus value. We are going to just be like, oh, Josh Allen minus 115. Everybody bet this. We went Ray Davis anytime touchdown on FanDuel. This was plus 460. So we bet just over zero point 0.2 of a unit to win a full unit. So incredible value there. Um, Personally, I'm a big fan of that. So the reason we did this on FanDuel is plus 460, ESPN Bet plus 310, and Caesars plus 410. So even with the implied odds of the 460 is a 17% chance, but based on our calculation, he scored in 4 of his 12 games, so real odds 25%. That's a good plus EV bet this one would be. And he could be 4 for 11 in touchdowns to games played. He had a game where he had 1 catch and 0 carries. So if you take that out, I mean, he did technically play, but and I thought he played pretty well on what was that Sunday night there against the Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe increased touches for him against the Rams, but we just need him to get in the end zone. He can have 1 touch and get in the end zone, and some personal invite. He had a 63-yard screen catch for a touchdown against the Dolphins. That makes me not like him. So if he wants to redeem himself with me, he can score a touchdown this week and win me some money.
Yeah, and he went to Kentucky, so I don't like him. So there's two
Yeah.
reasons that he could tell us to go fuck ourselves,
If he
and
scores,
yeah, he could
he's
do it by scoring. Like if he was like, "Hey, screw you guys," but scores like, I'm
yeah.
fine. He doesn't have to like,
I'll give him a thumbs
but
up. I'll give him a follow on Instagram. How's that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he'll deserve that.
He'll deserve that.
Kyle put a lot of deep thought into this
I
anytime
did.
like he really
I
did.
did.
I don't want
We went through a
anybody to
lot of
let him
guys.
go unrecognized. He really put a lot of thought into it. We had multiple potential people, but they weren't good enough for him. He wanted the perfect bet, and he
And
found
I
it.
found value.
He certainly found value as he talked about. I mean, listen to the variation between the odds on the three different books he talked about. That is value. He looked for y'all. Don't sleep on that. That is dedication to finding the proper anytime touchdown of the week. Putting a lot of effort into these special bets that we're bringing out to you guys,
And
and
we're a fan of them.
proof.
We're a big fan.
Oh yeah,
All right. So we are gonna recap all these bets one time, and then that'll wrap up. Is this episode 4?
episode 4.
15 bets episode. Um, so to start, we had Detroit minus 3.5 at minus 105. So that's 1.05 units to win one. That game is happening as we speak, like I said. So you'll know if we're 1-0 or 0-1 when this video comes out. Bet number 2, we have the Miami Dolphins minus 6.5 at even money. Got this on ESPN Bet, so that's a nice simple 1 unit to win 1 unit. Then we have Minnesota minus 5.5 at minus 114. Got this one on FanDuel. That's 1.14 units to win one. Next, we have the New York Giants um, plus 4.5, minus 110. Got this one at Caesars, had better value there. So that's minus 1 point. That's 1.1 units to win one. Next, we got that Giants team total I was talking about earlier. This one's just a half unit, so 0.55 units bet to win a half unit. Giants team total over 109.5 yards, so 110. When you're watching that, look for that. Then we have Pittsburgh -7. This one is also even and also from Caesars, so a nice 1 unit to win 1 unit. Then we got that Bengals on Monday, bought a half point there to get it -6.5, get it to plus money, plus 106 on this one. Got it from FanDuel. Weird thing with Caesars on this one. I don't know if I said this earlier, but Caesars had -7 at minus 105 or minus 104. And then you went down to minus 106 or minus 6.5, and it was minus 104. So it moved one, like the odds moved 1 point by changing the odds at a point, where FanDuel gives us a nice plus money here. So that's 0.94 units to win 1 unit. That one goes into a crazy decimal, but we don't need to get into all that. And then we have Chuba Hubbard under 58.5 rushing yards at minus 114 as well. And this is just a half unit, so 0.57 units to win a half unit of zero point 0.5. Connor, take us away on our specialty bets this week.
So now we are heading into our weekly specials. Now, the first one we're going to start with is the one that we just talked about recently, which is the anytime touchdown parlay that we have, which is Ray Davis, anytime touch, or not parlay, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. So, anytime touchdown bet that we have, which is Ray Davis, anytime touchdown. That was plus, what was it? Plus four
60.
plus 460. So we bet 0.2174 units to win 1 unit. So
Math.
decimal, you're gonna have to trust the math. Now, our second specialty bet, we have the Jameis Winston over 40 attempts, over 40 attempts, and the over 44 and a half total points for the game. That is the plow for this week. That is the parlay of the week is Jameis Winston 40 plus attempts, over 44 and a half. We bet zero point 0.2 units to win 0.44 units on that parlay. Now we have the player prop of the week. This is my favorite player prop of the week. This is the one we picked. This is the one we like the most. Daniel Jones, or not Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, the better Jones, because he's the one that's playing. Mac Jones under 199 and a half passing yards at minus 114. We got that on FanDuel. That is 1.145 units to win one singular unit. And then for the grandest of them all, it is our lock of the week. The lock of the week this week. This goes along with that New York Giants bet that Kyle was just talking about. It is New Orleans team total 125.5 rushing yards. We're taking the over for that. We got that on ESPN. We did 1.1 units to win 1 unit. So we have the over New Orleans team total over 125 and a half rushing yards. We have I did it again. I did it again. I did it again. We have Mac Jones under
Yes.
199 and a half passing
Cheese.
yards. We have Jameis Winston over 40 and a, or over 40 passing attempts and then over 44 and a half team total. And then Ray Davis, anytime touchdown. That's what we have for our weekly specials this week.
I'm not gonna lie, I zoned out for a second there, and then you took a pause, and I just like snapped back into focus.
I think I zoned out for a second too. I struggled to
Yeah,
say
you
Mac
might
Jones
have.
multiple times.
Yeah,
I
I was like,
accidentally
oh, Mike
called that
Jones, nice.
a parlay for the anytime touchdown. We're struggling, but hey,
We're
you guys
getting
know
to
we do this shit live, okay? We're not playing
it.
around, all right? This is a
We're not
one
gonna
hit
redo it.
wonder. You guys get us at our truest form.
A little bit mentally challenged us. So back to the math, which is probably all wrong because we're mentally challenged here. Um, but in total, we're betting just over 10 units. So that's 10.0208 units bet this week. So whether you're betting $1 or you're betting $1,000 on each one of these, you can follow along. That's why we give up units to try to make it nice for everybody, no matter what your bankroll is. And then to go along with how much we could win if everything hits, it would be 10.44, which we know we're reasonable. That won't happen. But I just like to give that ratio. So we're not betting favorites and we're not all betting long shot parlays. We got a nice pretty basically a 1-to-1 ratio there. So I'm happy with that. Um, I don't know. We got a good volume this week. I think last week we had like 7 units bet on the week 13, like the Sunday, and then we had I don't know how many we had on Thanksgiving, maybe six or seven there too. So that put us into like I think we were 14 units bet, and we ended up winning plus 3.45 units on week 13. So hopefully we can beat it, but anything positive is gonna make me happy moving on to next week. So that's what
Yeah,
we're
me
rooting
as
for.
well. Me as well. But it is we did want to focus on getting you guys more bets. We wanted to have a good amount of bets. We had some bets that we had earlier and we were like, okay, this is good. But then we were going through and we were like, we need to get some more, we need to
Better
get
win.
obviously quality, but we want to have some more bets to give to you guys this week. So we went back through, we looked at all the games, we looked at everything that we liked out of all the games and we came back around, and that's how we ended up with the amount of bets that we had. And then we stayed pretty chill with the units. We do have quite a few, not necessarily half unit bets, but less than 1 unit bets. As you guys know, how we bet over a unit to win a unit. But we do have a lot of bets too that we bet less than a unit on. But those are just plus money bets. So you get that, But like Kyle said, we're always looking to just stay positive. We said it last episode. We probably said it the episode before. I definitely said it. I'll take being up half a unit as long as we're up. So we're trying to beat the three that we had last week, but being up is up. So that's all we're focused on.
We got 12 bets in total going out this week, 8 at a full unit, 3 at a half unit, and then we got our one parlay where we bet point 0.2 of a unit on that one. So
Mhm. So a
works
pretty good
out.
bet overall. So that's a good way to mix it up. That Cincinnati game threw me off because we got it plus money, but we went to win
Yeah.
a unit. That was trying to win a unit on that one, which that's good, honestly. When you got a bet that you're feeling good to win a whole unit on and it's plus money, we like that though.
Oh, yeah, actually, I did that. All right, whatever.
Yeah. So but do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, just go Dolphins. That's all I got.
Let's go Dolphins. I'm not gonna say anything else. Conference championship weekend this weekend in college football, but there's nothing for me to be excited about when it comes to that. So, hey, let's go football.
Clemson,
Let's have fun.
Clemson, well,
Yeah, he's excited for, he gets a good weekend. Meanwhile, I just sit here dormant all weekend. So,
you're already in the playoff. You got nothing to worry about.
yeah, that's true. But,
So
an SEC championship would have been cool. Or
it
if
was.
Notre Dame could join a
Well,
conference.
everybody knows what ACC stands for. Another Clemson championship. So
I feel like the viewers probably think that I'm like just the biggest fucking bandwagon in the world because I just like associate with Tennessee and I associate
he
with
does
Notre
go
Dame.
there. He does go there.
Not that like not that either of them have been successful in recent years, but they're both like pretty good programs that are well known.
I wasn't even thinking Notre Dame. I was
Yeah,
only thinking Tennessee.
yeah. Well, I mean Notre Dame's locked. They're
You're
locked.
double locked in the playoff.
Yeah, I got a two. I
Yeah,
have
over
no,
here.
I got
I had to.
I got
I had
two
to.
two chances.
Dude, I was sweating that Miami or the Clemson South Carolina game, and I'm like, oh, it's over. We lost this game. We're never making the playoff. And then I'm like, wait, if Miami loses to Syracuse, I
Hmm.
get it. And then Miami goes up 21-0. And I was like, oh, great. I go to work. I turn on at work. It's 14-20. I'm like, oh my God, I'm back in. I gotta watch this. So I did nothing at work besides watch that game. And then I was really happy the rest of my shift because
Yeah. I mean,
Miami.
I had to sweat the Tennessee Vandy game at first. I couldn't, but it was a you check the
Yeah.
ESPN box score and you sweat that at first, but then Tennessee
They
pulled it.
took care of it. Second half, they dominated.
Yeah, no, I know. I was worried about that though, because
Like you
oh, that would
were.
be the most Tennessee thing ever to just lose that game.
They give you a nice tease.
Yeah, they would do that. But yeah, I got two shots in the playoffs. I'm just looking forward to that. But meanwhile, I'm gonna get excited about the NFL.
Yeah, I
we got a good
did
slate.
mention taking Clemson. Clemson was like plus 150, like going into the season to make the playoff. And then I meant to look what they were after the Georgia game. I'm sure they had to be like plus 200
Hmm.
after steamrolled by Georgia, maybe higher, but I didn't. And we didn't have a podcast then. So who would I have shared that with? But maybe
Yeah,
we'll do that.
exactly. Exactly. Maybe next season we'll share that information with you guys. Um, but
We
yeah,
got more college football content coming out soon. with this
Yeah, yeah.
bracket.
When it picks up, when the conference championship ends, playoff comes into full swing. We're gonna have a blast with the playoffs. I can already tell. In case you guys haven't noticed, my thing that I like is college football. Kyle is more of the NFL guy. I love college football. I like both. I'm not saying
But
I don't like the
you
NFL.
actually go to college. I've been not going to college,
Yeah.
so
I just like know like when it comes to like knowledge and understanding of everything, I like know more about college. But I watch both.
yeah.
But like
It,
college is what gets me really excited. Like this time of year gets me really excited. I like it a little bit more than like the NFL playoff, but I like both. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of things coming out for the college football playoff coming up. I don't know if we'll cover bowl season that much.
And
Maybe.
what is it anymore though? What
But
is bowl
the most
season?
exciting part of bowl season is the playoff now because all the New York Six bowls, their playoff games, all that. So we'll definitely be covering the college football playoffs, and then as this NFL season kind of nears the end, we're going to be covering potential playoff brackets, playoff implications. We're going to be doing all playoff stuff, and then that'll take us right into the end of the football season, um, in January for college,
Yeah.
February for NFL. So we got a good ride. We have a good few months coming up here.
You guys seem to enjoy our college football rant we had the other day.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
we're gonna focus on kind of splitting that kind of stuff up more so you guys can, chew away at individual things. You can obviously go through these whole things and go through what you like, but we're gonna try to split it up so that you guys can see the things that you like at your fingertips more easily. Um, we're trying to make big changes. We're trying to make changes slowly. We're a two-man group right now, but we're trying to slowly improve over time. Every time we want to make something a little bit better. This week we're adding our weekly specials, which I'm pretty excited about. Hopefully those do us well. Those are always something exciting to look forward to. But then there's just other little tweaks that you got to try to add to. So we're gonna constantly try to improve everything for you guys and make it an exciting experience. But yeah, I think that's really all we got to talk about this week. Yeah,
Yeah, I got no notes.
yeah. I mean, I see he's over there chewing away on his snack, so I think
That's
we're good
great.
to go here. I think
I
we're
got
I
a
think
couple
we're
of
done.
notes.
But yeah, like I will see you guys on Tuesday. I think it is. Yeah, or
Yeah, we'll recap these bets on Tuesday, and maybe we'll see you sooner with some college football stuff. But
yeah.
that's
So
the plan for
at least
these bets.
Tuesday or Wednesday, potentially a little earlier. Um, but yeah, hopefully we have a good weekend, and I will see you guys next week.